So let's talk about digital video specifically. We're a digital video conference. How big of a priority is video today? And how has that changed since you've joined, which is about 6 to 9 months, man?
Yeah, 7 or 8, I think.
7 or 8 months, okay.
September, whatever that math turns out to be. So first of all, video is a tremendous priority for us. Not surprisingly, because it's a growing business for most publishers and most networks. And I think you need to start thinking about Yahoo as both a publisher and as a network. And that's a big philosophical change probably for most people in the market, but also a little bit of a philosophical change for us. People have historically thought of us as a publisher, but really what we are is a collection of assets. It's a collection of data, inventory, algorithms, and the like that have applicability well beyond the walls of our space. So if you think about it in a display environment, we have search data, which is amazingly valuable. But you can't buy ads on Condé Nast, let's say, for people who have searched for credit cards in the last 30 days. Like, no one can tie those data sets together except us, because we have that capability now. And so I think what you'll see us is, over the future, take many of our asset sets and transition them from a publisher monetization model into much more of a more modern network philosophy. But that also happens on video. So we are in a great position on video. We have a robust business. It's going well, but we are supply constrained. And so for us, it's really how do you actually build that business from a supply perspective, because we have as much of the demand as we can fill.
So this is sort of your second time taking a large, let's call it traditional digital advertising business and converting it or extending it into digital video. And I consider you kind of a pioneer in this way. How has that experience been, and sort of what are you seeing internally as a result? Do you like that description? Or?
No, I think that, look, Ron Herneva would probably not think, there is a lot of people at my last job who are fantastic video experts, right? And they really were the pioneers. What we did, and we're trying to do now, is sort of, once again, how do you look at the asset set? And, look, I have this thing I like to think about, that in most businesses, and especially the programmatic ones, return on advertising spend, or ROI, or whatever you want to measure, is a product of three things: the quality of your inventory, the quality of your data set, and the quality of your algorithms, or your ability to bring that to market. And so when you look at those things, a lot of the traditional large businesses have those in spades, but we're never really able to bring them to the fore. And so that's the challenge. How do you actually take those three things and make them effective, not only for inventory that exists on your site, but inventory at large in the marketplace? And that's really the challenge for us in video. And then, how do you actually extend that into your business? Is all about inventory supply matched with great data sets from first-party and third-party environments to create a good advertising experience for marketers and advertisers. And that's really what we're doing again.
So you sort of laid out data and inventory and algorithms, talked a little bit about data. I think no one would doubt Yahoo has an incredible competitive advantage on the data side. Let's talk about inventory. So you're obviously going into the new front. You produce a lot of content. You have a pretty strong view about scripted versus non-scripted content. Can you share a little bit about your perspective of how content and your owned and operated inventory plays into that story, and then maybe what you do with that content once it's produced?
Sure. I think content's a very broad term, right?
Sure.
And for the most part, given the distribution systems that exist today and the monetization systems that exist today in pure digital, original scripted content that is digital only is much more of a marketing model than it is a profit model, right? You can't make money necessarily on creating a individual show, if you want to think of it that way, that's scripted, produced with talent, and put it out on the CPM model, the distribution systems that we have today, and make a lot of money. And I don't think you have seen many examples of that. However, you can blend original scripted content, which gives you a halo effect, along with evergreen content that you produce, along with content that you syndicate in, and then if you match that with data and good categorization and metadata, you can repackage that out into channels and run it both on your inventory set and other people's inventory. And so content becomes a magnet that you then amplify through both owned and operated and network inventory.
And as you think about that O&O selling, you know, Yahoo's traditionally been focused on O&O. What are the obstacles to sort of changing that perception, either internally, externally, around both O&O and off O&O packaging and selling?
I'm not sure we've traditionally been focused on O&O only. I mean, I think RMX certainly was a pioneer in network and data and things like that. And so I think, you know, the go-to-market strategy is really evolving around a combination of relationship management and specialist expertise. And so you have to have both. You have to have the scale that you have as someone like Yahoo really delivers you long-term deep relationships with the market. And then what you have to do is add on the specialist expertise in things like video and programmatic and mobile and content marketing and search to build that up. And so you do that, I think, in combination. I think that's the way you go to market.
Okay, so we talked about data, we talked about inventory, let's talk about algorithms. It seems like really to put your sort of data to work, you have to make some pretty significant investments, sort of owning the ad tech stack. You've had some important announcements lately. You want to highlight what those have been and how they're going?
Yeah, sure. And I think, let me go back to the first part, because I think, you know, I mentioned data, but I don't think everyone probably understands what I mean by the richness of the data set at Yahoo. So, of course, data, you're looking for some sort of signal to imply interest on the behalf of a user. And if you look at the pure players in the marketplace, everyone has a particular niche on data. Google certainly has one around search. Facebook has some on demographic. But if you look, Yahoo has search data, display data, mobile, video, mail, and actually some television data. And the combination of all those things across a broad set is really what gives you that ability to actually really determine intent for a user and match the best advertising. So that's really the data story. On the algorithm story, or the algorithm and platform story, we announced in January Yahoo Ad Manager Plus, which was an entire rewrite of our audience-based business across video and display. And what that really did is gave us a new opportunity to access other forms of supply in the marketplace, because we were not really very large in the RTB world from a supply source before that, as well as bring a refresh of the algorithms. And we're still in the early phases of that, because it was January we launched it, but all of our campaigns from the tests that we've been beginning to run have actually been performing really well. And so it's both a combination of the algorithms, but also the platforms to enable all of that data from disparate sources to be combined into one. And then you have to do a lot of math. Like, you really have to do what I call sort of the cross elasticities of performance. You know what search does alone. You know what display does. But how does display only targeted to people who've searched for something do? How does it work when I layer video on top of mobile? How does it work if I only show a display ad to someone who saw a television ad? What happens if I layer combinations of three? What happens if I sequence those? Is it better to show a mobile ad followed by a video ad, or show a video ad followed by a mobile ad? What's the sequencing? What happens when I run a homepage? What happens to my search results over the next 30 days? Right? It's that interconnectivity between the different opportunities for advertising in the marketplace that actually really drives value. And I think that's really where we've been building those elasticity sets, as well as the data sets and the algorithms to build out. So it's not just one thing, It's not YAM Plus.
Are there any insights that you can sort of share thus far in that effort? And I guess I'm most interested in, you know, it seems like video will contribute some form of a halo to almost all the other categories, but I think the sort of amount of that halo and impact has been debated. So any insights thus far?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, obviously, the first one that comes out from the data is that the combination of things done together beats any individual mode of advertising in added together, right? It's better to run a joint campaign on search and display than an isolated campaign on search and display. In video, you know, it's really, I would say, based on the peculiarities of video, which is that we have a market that has lots of demand. In display, sometimes there's more supply than there is demand. In video, historically, for quality video, there's been more demand than there has been supply.
Yeah.
So it's not actually so much what's the individual efficacy of video vis-a-vis other things. It's how you actually get more value from video by pairing with other things and not wasting it on areas where it won't perform. And so there's a lot of research we've been doing on that and figuring out where you actually run it and how you run it in combination with other things.